Hello and welcome to another edition of Math is Still Math. Well, I'm Mr. Matthews, and here we are. This is the practice quiz you guys took this week. Your goal assessment is tomorrow. If you want to know why you missed a question, follow along. Let's start with the vocabulary. You've got 8 terms: complementary angles, parallel lines, right angles, supplementary angles, transversal, congruent, corresponding angles, and alternate interior angles. When I do vocab, I memorize them before I show up to the test so that when I read the word, I can automatically hunt down the right answer. So as soon as I read complementary angles, I know that means they add up to 90 degrees, which is 6 angles that add up to 90 degrees. Don't pick A just because you see the number 90. 6 is A. So that's done. B, parallel lines. Oh, those are lines that never touch the other same direction. So which one of these says that? 2 lines that go the exact same direction and will never cross. Okay, so B is going to be 7. Check. A right angle, that's a 90-degree angle. So, oh wait, it's number 1. Okay, so 1 is C. Check. Supplementary angles add up to be 180 degrees. So where's the 180? There it is. So angles that add up to 180 degrees. So 5 is D. Mark that off. For some reason, I always love crossing them off. Like done with you, done with you, done with you. A transversal, that's the line that kind of goes across 2 lines. So a line that intersects with 2 other lines. Okay, so 3 is transversal. Letter F, congruent. Those are equal values. So figures that are equal in value would be congruent. That is F. Next, so mark it off. G, corresponding angles. Those are the ones that are like in sort of the same place but in different crisscrosses. Angles that occupy the same relative position. Those are the key words right there. The relative position is corresponding angles. So that is G. And if everything worked out right, then 8 angles that are on opposite sides of the transversal and in between the set of parallel lines, that would be alternate interior angles. Yep, that worked out. So G and H, both used. So there's vocab. Okay, so let's now go on to complementary and supplementary angles. Okay, the first thing to know is that when you see complementary and supplementary, this is the 90-degree word, and this is the 180-degree word. So any angles that add up to be 90 degrees are complementary, and any angles that add up to be 180 are supplementary. As long as you know that, you can figure these out. So for number 9, here's my scrap work. All right, so number 9, angles J and angle M are supplementary angles. So as soon as I see that word supplementary, I know they add up to 180. So angle J plus angle M, they're going to equal 180 degrees. If angle M is 75 degrees, what is the value of angle J? Okay, well, they're telling me that angle M is 75 degrees. So I can just take away 75 from both sides of this little equation I just made up. So angle J is going to be 180 minus 75. I think it's just 105. We can test that. 105 plus 75. Yep, it's 180. Okay, so our answer for angle J would be 105 degrees. For B, now B says that angles R and B are complementary, so I know for number 10 that angle R plus angle B are going to be 90 degrees. And then it tells us that angle R is 22, so 22 plus whatever angle B is going to be 90. So I can just subtract 22 from both sides of my little equation I just made up. Those cancel out, that make 0, so angle B is going to equal to 190 minus 20 is 70. 70 minus 2 would be 68. So that'd be 68 degrees. Just remember that supplementary, the longer word is 180 degrees, and complementary, they might actually be the same length. Like complementary is a 90-degree word. Now let's go on to the back of your practice quiz. Okay, so we've got this system with 2 parallel lines and a transversal that cuts between them. To be honest, I don't even read the questions. As soon as I see this symbol or all these symbols, I just start filling in the blanks. I don't even look at the questions because it doesn't take that long. So if if this angle right here is 145 degrees and x is a vertical angle, that means they're the same. So I know that x is going to be 145 degrees. Since from here to here, that's a straight angle, that makes 180 degrees. Well, if this section in here is 145, then I can just take 180 and subtract 145. Do a little borrowing. So that means that angle E is the leftover. So E is equal to 35 degrees. Because they are supplementary. E plus 145 has to equal 180. So if I just subtract 145 from 180, that'll tell me what the leftover is. That makes E equal to 35. And as soon as I know that E is 35, I know that D is 35 because they are vertical angles. They're across each other on an intersection. If I know that, well, now we can kind of see they're either going to be 35s or 145s. So, okay. If X is 145, that means that A is 145 because they are corresponding angles. They're in the same relative position to each other. And if A is 145, that means that B is 35 because they're supplementary angles. If A is 145, that means that C is 145 because they're vertical angles. So really quickly, I just solved everything. And now I'm just going to look down at the questions because I've already got all the answers. So 11, what is X? Well, okay, I've already done that. X is 145 degrees. Number 12, C and A are blank angles. Okay, where's C? C is there and A is here. So, okay, so since they're across each other through this intersection, they are called vertical angles. And guys, I gotta tell you, out of all my classes, that was the #1 missed question. For some reason, that definition did not connect with you. Please understand that any angles that are directly across each other from an intersection, they are called vertical angles. D and B, so D is here and B is here. They're sort of in the same position on different intersections. That's that relative position. If they're in the same relative position to each other, that means that they are corresponding. They are corresponding angles. That was the correct answer for 13. Number 14, A and B. Okay, well here's A and there's B. Now they add up to be 180 because they share a straight line. They are called supplementary angles. And they add up to be 180 degrees. Now, for those of you that put 180 over here and you got the problem wrong, I didn't give you credit unless you said supplementary first. And then some of you said supplementary, but you didn't put 180, and you lost 3 points for doing that. So 15 through, I think it's 19, yeah. So 15 through 19, we're still going to be using the image that I just solved, basically. So 15, what is angle A? We've already established that's 145 degrees. Angle B is 35 degrees. Angle C is 145 degrees. Angle D is 35 degrees. And angle E is 35 degrees. Those were already filled in. Okay. Last question is the blind puzzle that went with number 20. Okay, so all we have to do is find X. They've given us some information. If you didn't know, these little boxes, that means that this is a 90-degree angle. There's a lot of ways we can do this. I'm just going to tell you the way that my brain is thinking about it. Okay, so if this is 23 degrees, then that means that this part right here is 23 degrees because they're vertical angles of each other. And from here to here is 180 degrees because it's a straight line, which means that 90, X, and 23 have to add up to be 180. So if 90 plus 23 plus X equals 180, well, I can just add these together and say that 113 plus X is equal to 180. So if I just subtract 113 from both sides of this little equation I just made up, X is going to be equal to, a little borrowing, X will be equal to 67 degrees. There are more than one way to solve that puzzle. If you have any questions, please contact me. This has been a review edition of Math is Still